I just had the wildest experience with my son, Luca. He's autistic and was nonverbal until he was 5. He really was minimally verbal until he was about 8 or 9. Couldn't answer a question, couldn't have a two-way conversation, couldn't answer how his day was at school until he was about 8 or 9. So about 10 years ago, we went into this neighborhood grocery store, and he was in one of those little carts with the car in the front. Him and his little brother Lucky were in there, and then my older daughter, who was also disabled and nonverbal, was in the front of the cart. So I'm kind of trapped in this grocery store line, and there's no forwards and there's no backwards. Like, I'm trapped both ways. Luca started to have a meltdown. Back then, waiting was very, very difficult for him. And this woman from 2 lines away starts to yell, your child is misbehaving and you should be able to keep him, in check. And I had 3 little kids at the same time, and I controlled them, and basically, like, I was an awful parent and he was an awful child. The wrath of God came through me, and I just yelled across 2 lanes in the grocery store, you have no idea what you're talking about. I dare you to spend 1 day in my shoes. I had 3 little kids under 7. One was medically fragile, in a wheelchair, nonverbal. One was autistic, nonverbal, and the other one was a 2-year-old little boy. So instead of like having grace for someone that was having a hard time, my son was having a hard time, I was having a hard time, she just assumed that I was a bad parent and he was a bad kid. That's the first thing. But the second thing is that we should always assume competence. If someone's nonverbal, if someone looks like they're not listening, if someone's minimally verbal, please always assume that they are competent and that they are listening and they remember and they can hear what's going on. This is a memory from 10 years ago. My son walked into that grocery store and said, "Is this where the woman yelled at us?" And I just was like, I was right. He understood everything. I think there's a misconception that if you are nonverbal, that you don't know what's going on. And I think that couldn't be further from the truth. There are lots of different ways to listen. The person doesn't have to be staring at you to be listening. Always, always, always assume competence. Always.